So I've got this side of the wall sheath so far. I have the outlets put in. That's going to be a little 12 volt USB port. There's going to be a countertop right here, so I'm going to put my iPhone right there and let it charge up. I never was able to vary that one bulkhead, so it sticks out a little bit, but the cabinet goes right there, so I can hide that. This bulkhead here is a little bit proud too, but this has some pine wood that'll go over the rest of it, and I'll probably still see a little bit right here. And I'm thinking I'm going to try to attach the TV bracket to it there. So what I have left then is to do the ceilings. So I've kind of come by and put some of this foam. This is stuff you see on just homes on the foundation. It's just a little. I'm going to screw right to it. The same thing as this plywood. I'm going to put that up on top. So I'm going to screw right to it. So it's just one more little thermal break for the cold. So this channel is filled with foam, but the steel goes all the way to the roof. So that's always a possibility that you don't want too much of that exposed. So do you need to do that? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. You know, I just try to do as best I can. And there's also a lot of foam in between, so there's no other gaps. So we'll see. So next is to put this up, which I'm going to put 1 4 by almost 8 sheet. So I'm going to support that by the same old little struts, and I'll get that put right into place and then screw it down. This is a nice job if you have a friend, but I ain't got no friend, so this is gonna have to be me. So I cut the 2 LEDs holes first before I put that up. It's just easier to find a regular done hole than it is a little hole that you poke the wire through. And once you make a hole, you can't use your hole saw anymore, because what's it gonna center in on? Nothing. So it's better to finish the holes off before you put it up. How I managed to get it up there and suspend it with all these boards. So it's not screwed in place yet. I just needed to, you know, you've got to be able to move it here, move it there. I made lines along the edge so I can see where I'm trying to get to. So that was done with a 6-foot level as a straight edge. So that now I can kind of start in the middle and screw outwards, so that it has the right size curve. Okay. So I'm using 1-inch wafer head screws. They've got a very thin head, and they sit really flush on the wood. So this piece here is pretty easy. There's a vent and 1 light cover, but the big problem is right here, in that there's a curve, and it's got about 1 3/8 inches to go. So how do you solve that? Well, first off, you make sure that you're exactly in line. So, I mean, the best tool is your eye. So that looks pretty in line. You can come over here and look at this. That looks pretty in line too. So I think I'm square this way. So then I just need to go forward 1 3/8 inches. So you know you're going to clear that. There's more than 1 3/8 inches this way. So then you're only left with trying to duplicate this curvature. So that was just a guess. So we'll see how good I guessed. Well, it's not perfection, but I'll take it, because this is all going to be covered with boards. I'll fill in all this with plywood, and then I'll do the sides, and that'll do this half of the van like this. So the ceiling is done. I'll start working on filling in this edge, so you have a little bit of a 45 there. So this is something I would change on the next van that I didn't do. So on this edge and this edge down here, those don't really have anything to screw to or a beam or anything like that. So they end up being just kind of supported from all this other stuff. So you never want to have a short piece here. You want to have a long piece. And what I would do differently next time is, as I'm putting in the foam insulation on top, I would just take and then put a little bead of that low expansion, low pressure foam on top of it. So as I put the foam up there and put it in place, there's a layer of foam that attaches to the roof and the insulation. So that foam is incredibly sticky and is darn near as close to a beam as you can get. And also then when I was putting up the wood against the insulation, the foam, I put another bead along that edge. Same thing down in here, is you want that edge to be really solid and not able to move much. And that foam, you know, there might be a better way to do it, but that's how I do it. And I did it with the sprinter, and it was the same way there, in that there was nothing to really screw to on this edge. So you know, it's not under a lot of stress. You're going to have some probably 1x4 or just 1/4 inch by 4 planking going over with a little bit of trim. So who cares? But you try to make it as solid as possible. And then, of course, once you put the foam in there, you brace that up with the supports until the foam sets. So something to think about when you're designing the upper cabinets is, where are you going to attach that? So you just can't go and attach it somewhere in the middle of a 1/4 inch plywood. That's not really enough. You want to look for where there are those struts. So see, here's a strut. There's one of those beams on the ceiling. And then remember, this is where we have that big long piece of wood. So you can attach here and to these struts. So what you don't want is, you don't want like one bolt or one screw going into one strut. You want to bridge that. So here's a strut, here's a strut, here's a strut. So the cabinet can't just be from here to here. You've got to plan it so that it might come from here. You're going to catch this strut and catch this strut, and best yet that one. So you have three screws going into the upper, and then as many as you want going on the bottom. So there's the finished sheathing project. And I even put some aluminum tape on the seams. So you can see now why I worked so hard to try to make this line here straight all the way down, and that last bit was a little rough. But it came out to where it's pretty flush. So I can put some board over that without too much work. So we got some of the outlets in. So I've not really thought what I'm going to put on here as a top coat. We'll see. Up on the roof, I'm going to use cedar planking.